all for coming. It's a beautiful afternoon. It's a beautiful park. I know you have very busy schedules, so we will get through this as quickly as possible. Lunch is available to you if you choose to participate. Michael, if you'd like to come in and introduce our honored guest.
Andrea, thank you. It's an honor to be here, and certainly I want to congratulate the city and certainly Mayor Rivera with the work that you're doing out here. The city is the envy of the region, and we're very excited to be a part of this with you along the way here. So we're joined with Mayor Dan Rivera, the senior member of the delegation, Representative Marcos Devers, Representative Frank Moran. We have City Councilor Kendris Vasquez, and from the school committee, we have Giovanni Rodriguez. So we're well represented by the delegation here in the Merrimack Valley, and I want to thank you.
So most of you probably, I'm sure, know Jamie Melendez. He's from the City of Lawrence Veterans Affairs Office, and J.T. Torres, who's the Executive Director of the New England Veterans Liberty House. And we have also as an honored guest Bob Donahue, who is a 32-year retired colonel from the Marine Corps. And for those of you who know JT, he's two terms in the military, Marine Corps first, which I understand is his love, followed by the Army, enlisted in the Army, and he's done Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and also fought in Iraq. And Jamie has done 100 jumps as a 24-year retired Army paratrooper. So give them a round of applause. Mayor Rivera?
Welcome, and it's always great to be in a neighborhood that people don't get a lot of chance to come out to because it's tucked into one of our nicer neighborhoods. I went to grade school down the street at the Hennessy School, and I remember Zigzag Hill. You can take this hill down and sled. It's always a great neighborhood to be in. But more importantly, what an honor as a mayor that is also a veteran to be able to dedicate parks to the dedication and the sacrifice of other veterans. The first week that I was here, just as a tidbit, first 6 months I was on in the service as mayor, Representative Moran came up to me with some plans for an intersection over at Doorne Park. I said, Doorne Park? I never heard of Doorne Park. He said, yeah, you know what's in Doorne Park. You just don't know the name is Doorne Park. And so he showed me on the map, and I said, oh my God, that's right next to Zigzag Hill. It's up the street from the Hennessy. So we right away, we got to work putting some plans together to try to figure out a better flow in this intersection to make it safer not only for the people that live around here, but get people to get in and out of the neighborhood. But more importantly, to make the neighborhood look nicer, and especially since we're going to dedicate this section here. I know Councilor Toomey wished he could probably be here with us today, but he's home and dealing with some foot stuff he's got. But he's been really spearheading the Adopt a Park program in the city. Anytime you see an Adopt a Park program, there's probably a 99% chance that Councilor at Large Roger Toomey has something to do with it. And he makes sure that parks get together with companies like Columbia Gas, and they take care of areas that the city won't be able to get to. The city of Lawrence is not unlike a lot of cities and towns who had financial problems in the recent history, And so we're getting around to that point where we try to get back to some more maintenance on these parks. So every time we can get a partner like a Columbia Gas to help us out, it's always a pleasure. So thank you very much. A round of applause for Columbia Gas and their dedication. But again, it's just an honor to be able to be here with you today and honor the sacrifice and dedication of a set of veterans that are Lawrence kids, just like us, that they start their lives here in Lawrence. They go to Lawrence Public Schools and they get sent all over the world. And these two gentlemen got sent to in World War II and into Korea. Jamie and some of us over here got in Iraq, and some people went to Vietnam. And every police action, we've always probably sent somebody from Lawrence to do that. So it's an honor to be able to do this for the Van Doorne brothers. Thank you so much.
Before we go into unveiling the sign, I'm sorry, my name is JT Torres. I'm the Executive Director for New England Veterans Liberty House. I have the pleasure and honor to work with Andrea in regards to this project. Before we go any further, any other veterans in the audience, please stand up or raise your hand. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a round of applause, please. These are your true American idols of this country. I'd like to get Andrea Lupi, Representative Frank Moran, and Mayor Dan Rivera, please, at this sign. If you could all just turn around for a sec. If you'd like to get up, turn around. Again, there was another sign here prior to that, and we just thought that it was befitting to, with talking to Jamie, to get a new sign up here. So please, Representative. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. What I'm going to do real quick is just, I don't know if everybody want any opportunities to take any photos with the mayor and Frank Moran and Andrea Lupi at the time. Please, now or later, be fine. Before I get into it, again, I had the privilege and the honor to be asked by Andrea Lupi to assist in this, and by no means I was the catalyst of putting this together. Ladies and gentlemen, please, we need to be grateful and thankful for Columbia Gas, because Columbia Gas was the one that put this together. Andrea Lupi, Dana, Gina, Jenny, Vince, the whole crew. They do so much for our veterans here in the city of Lawrence that you don't even know half the stuff they do, but they do. They've been involved with the Lawrence Veterans Luncheon at the Lawrence Senior Center. They've been involved also with giving out Thanksgiving baskets to our elder veterans. They certainly helped our organizations above and beyond, not just monetary, but they also, once a month for sure, I'll get either a call from Jenny or Doorne or Vince, or, I mean, just saying what kind of help we need. They come to our food pantry, they help us out there. So again, please, a round of applause for Columbia Gas. So our task from Andrea Lupi was to find and research some more information about the Van Doorne brothers. And I went ahead and passed that information over to one of my great volunteers in our office, please, Barbara Donahue. She's in the back, and she's done a lot of that research with, obviously, her husband, Bob. And I'm going to pass it over to them because they did a lot of the research and they have the information. The information you're going to get is just remarkable. So, Mr. Jamie Melendez and Mr. Bob Donahue.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. I hate to reiterate, but I got to also mention Columbia Gas. Since I've started here in Lawrence working as Director of Veteran Services, they've been a partner of mine from the beginning over the last 4 years. And I am extremely grateful to Andrea, Dana, and the whole Columbia Gas crew for all you've done for the veterans since I've been here. I am truly appreciative and thank you. I just want to welcome everyone to the Van Doorne Park here in Lawrence, and mention it was named in honor of the Van Doorne cousins, Victor and Maurice, two service members who died in service during World War II. Victor was 26 at the time of his death. He was missing in action and presumed dead on 3/6/1942. was a tech sergeant for the Army Air Force. He's believed to have died in a plane collision over the South Pacific and was awarded the Air Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster. He served as a gunner on raids against the Japanese. Private Maurice, at the time 31 years old, was killed in action in France on 8/7/1944. The park was dedicated on Armistice Day, which is now known as Veterans Day, November 11th, 1957, with their families and city officials in attendance right here. This site was originally the location of the Riverside School. Undoubtedly, the school they attended as children growing up in Lawrence. Maurice grew up on 62 Hancock Street and Victor on 178 Water Street, just around the corner here. Victor was survived by his parents, Charles and Hermina Van Doorne, and Maurice was survived by his wife, Marie L. Van Doorne. To my fellow warriors, Godspeed. Rest in peace.
Thank you. He said, I'm best known here as Barbara's husband. They said, you know, here's a line the mayor will like and all of you can reuse. If Daniel Webster could do this without a microphone, then so can we. Okay. My interest in researching America's battle casualties began as a small child. My uncle Michael Donahue was killed in October of 1944 in northeastern France and is buried there today. We've been to his grave twice. I did painstaking research the first time before we went in 1994, and I could get very little information. As the years go by and the internet becomes a more and more powerful tool, and more information and records are declassified, released, and posted online, you can get more and more information every year. So the Van Doorns were a little tricky, but not too hard to find. It's like following a crumb trail till you get to where you want. You can't just go to one source. You can't just get everything you want. You have to go from place to place. Now, the Van Doorns, are a little complicated in that their names are actually in records two different ways. So if you search for them one way, you only find one and not the other. As Jamie said, taking them in order, Maurice was killed stopping a major German armored counterattack near Montagne, France. That was one of the major German counterattacks after the D-Day landings, and it was basically heavy German armor against our American infantry. Right. He is buried in the cemetery at St. James, and we'll come back to that. Victor Van Doorne was, like my father, a gunner in B-24s. My dad out of Italy, Victor Van Doorne out of the Philippines. They were on their way to bomb Japanese shipping at a place called Rabaul. Now, the B-24s had no navigational systems beyond a compass. They had no GPS, no radar. When they got into clouds or heavy weather, the only thing they had was the eyes of the crew. And one of the most dangerous things that could happen is they collided. 2 of the 6-plane mission did collide. 1 broke in half and fell into the ocean. The second one burst into flames. 1 member of the crew was seen parachuting out, but unfortunately his parachute was on fire. Okay. So we have Maurice and Victor. Now I have an additional for you. It is not 100%, but during my research on the Van Doorns, on a French website built by a Frenchman to recognize the Americans buried in the St. James Cemetery, next to Maurice Van Doorne is PFC Edmund Hoot. Edmund Hoot is listed as the cousin of Maurice Van Doorne. He is a Massachusetts battle casualty from Essex County, and knowing families tended to stay in the same geographic area back in those years, I have a strong feeling he was from Lawrence. Perhaps Averill, perhaps Lowell. But Edmund, was killed, in another German counterattack on the 1st of October in 1944. Now, in that cemetery where Maurice is buried, the American cemeteries overseas, the only people buried next to each other were the Medal of Honor winners, family members, and plane crews. It lists him as Maurice's cousin. And in that cemetery, you know, our 3 generals, including Teddy Roosevelt Jr., you know, more than 20 pairs of brothers, 4 groups of 3 brothers, 1 group of 4 brothers, and the most compelling of all, a father and son. We gave a lot in that war, and there's two of the heroes. You know, I will continue to research for you, find what I can. Jamie and I are going to work together to see if we can bring the story of Edmund Hoot home to you as well. Thank you.
So just real quickly, I had the privilege of meeting the gentleman who lives across the street, who grew up and was raised in Methuen and recently purchased this house. And he is a poet and a writer from Methuen. He has a website. His name is John King. And World War II veteran. When I told him about what we were doing, he was unable to come over, but he wanted me to share a poem in honor of Victor Van Doorne, whose body was never found. And that poem is, "When I die, don't bury me, throw my ashes into the sea, and I will be where I want to be, asleep under the beautiful sea." So if you have an opportunity to say hello to him before you leave, please do that. Jamie, is there anything else you'd like to say? Yes, yes. Jamie, you're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Representative Moran?
Thank you. You here? I just want to say thank you to everybody that showed up today to this great park. This is a park where, actually, I grew up not too far from here. I actually lived a couple of blocks away from here. I used to coach down there's a park down here, Little League Park. I coached there for 12 years. It's a great neighborhood. This is actually tremendous. I want to thank Bay State Gas for everything that you do and everything that you continue doing. Michael Kane is one of our colleagues, always picks up the phone when we call him. And I know, Michael, every time I call you for something, you always say, I want to thank you for that. But I'm going to continue calling you too, but I want to thank everybody for showing up. This is a great park. A lot of the kids are going to enjoy it for years to come. And I hope that we continue doing this type of projects in the city. We have at least 30 plus parks out there. And we are very thankful to have people like yourselves and your employees that were able to help. We want to thank JT Torres too, because we know JT Torres is a very, humble individual. But we know JT Torres has done so much work in this park as well too, in conjunction with Bay State Gas. Thank you, Jamie, for everything that you do. There's an intersection here the mayor talked about. About 4 years ago, we talked about fixing that intersection because it's very dangerous. As you guys know, there's an elementary school down the street from here, and it's very difficult for kids to walk across the street in the winter, especially when it's snowing. So as soon as the mayor came in, he was very grateful. He lent us his ear. He says, Frank, we're going to help make it better, make it safer for our kids, and that's going to happen in the future. I want to thank the mayor's office, too, for helping us out on that venture. And I know the gentleman, they actually initiated this project. I'm not sure if he's still here. He lives on that house right there, house number 2. He's going to appreciate this park. His kids are going to appreciate this park. I want to thank you all for coming, and I appreciate everything that you do for the city of Lawrence. Thank you.
I've just pulled one of our inclusion and diversity co-leads out of the back row there because I'm putting her on the spot, but our commitment to the military forces doesn't end with what you've heard about today, but continues. And I want Jenny Angelari to share with you what we're going to be doing on Tuesday.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming out. Next Tuesday on the 14th, we're going to be hosting a veterans fishing trip out of Newburyport. We've been working with the 101st Airborne, the Liberty House, and we're just co-sponsoring that trip for veterans throughout the towns around here and getting them out and doing something different that they don't normally get to do on a daily basis. So if you have the opportunity, come on down to, I believe it's Captain Fishing's parties down in Newburyport, and they'll be leaving the docks around 11:30. This is the first annual trip in honor of Corporal John Dawson, who passed away in April this year. So everything will, his family will be there. We'll be doing a ceremony in his honor once the ship deports. Thank you.
Didn't she do a great job off the cuff? Thank you, Jenny. And finally, Dana Argo. Dana Argo is our Operations Center Manager here in Lawrence, and he has dove in like no one's business. He is committed to everything that the Inclusion and Diversity team asks him to do. He runs a tight ship, but allows his employees to get involved in anything that is asked of the city. So, Dana?
Thank you, Andrea. I just want to thank everybody for coming out, Mayor, honored guests. I really do appreciate you coming out. And I want to state that Columbia Gas is committed to maintaining this park and maintaining a fine memorial to two fallen heroes. So with that, again, I thank you very much. Have a safe and happy weekend. Thank you.
Anybody else want to grab the mic and have a few words to say? We're good? Any questions? All right. Thank you all very much for coming.